Movie wall.
Hello, thank you everyone. Thank you for your patience. We were having some technical difficulties earlier on. We hope we have things working, but we just thank you for your patience. All right. So I hope you're enjoying your weekend. This is Sunday night. This is our
Don't
episode.
remind me.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. This is our Thrawn episode, so I'm looking forward to it. This should be fun. If you are joining us for the first time, this is Father Son Galaxy. I am Kerwin. This is Keith. Thank you. Those of you who've been here before, welcome back. We're going to talk about Thrawn. All right. So we want to start off by, well, we just give you a basic breakdown of what we're going to talk about. We're going to start with this book. So Thrawn has been around since the 90s, right? But he didn't become canon until 2017 when this book came out. So this is the first Thrawn canon novel, right? So this is the first novel of a trilogy. So we're going to talk about this because this serves as a backstory to Rebel Season 3 when we're introduced to Thrawn in the animated series. All right. So let's go. All right. So just basic information about Thrawn, who he is. He is from the homeworld of Cilia. His species is Chiths. So apparently he was exiled from his planet and he was found by the Empire. And then Thrawn was taken to Coruscant, because first of all, he's from that area of the galaxy, which is called the Outer Rim. Perhaps Palpatine didn't have much information about the Outer Rim and didn't know much about the Chiss, so he seemed intrigued. Okay, so what the Empire did, these Imperial officers decided to take Thrawn to Coruscant directly to meet the Emperor, which is very interesting. Okay, but he did get to stand at the throne room right in front of the Emperor Palpatine, and he made a plea to the Emperor that he can be of use to the Empire. So Thrawn talks about the threats in the unknown region that could be a danger to the Empire. And he has military skills needed to seek and find dangers. All right. So in turn, Thrawn wants the Empire to consider his people, meaning his people, the Chiss. He would prefer that the Empire leave them alone, do not bother them, let them be, no occupation from the Empire. And Thrawn gives his word that he is going to be loyal to the Empire always. Okay. And then one thing that he also did which was very smart on his part, he had a name drop. He apparently in the past, and we're not going to go too much into the story, but Thrawn met Anakin Skywalker years before. So, when you drop a name that's very important to the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, oh, wow, really? Okay, all right. So Thrawn asked about Anakin, and Palpatine said, well, unfortunately, Anakin didn't survive the Clone Wars. And Thrawn is offering the Emperor to be Anakin's replacement. All right. And the Emperor is very impressed. All right. And what does the Emperor do? He decides to make Thrawn, gives him a position in his empire, and gives him the title of lieutenant. Pretty cool. All right. And that is the first position that he receives. Now, throughout this book, Thrawn has moved up the ranks so quickly. It is unprecedented. No one, not even a human, no human has ever moved up the ranks of the Empire like he did. So Thrawn went from a lieutenant, then senior lieutenant, captain, then commander, then commodore. And when he received that position, commodore, that title, he became captain of his own star destroyer, right, the Chimera, which you've heard of, and then admiral, and the last title, as far as we know, after the victory of Baton, that's also in the book. Admiral Thrawn received from the Emperor personally a new rank, a new title. He was given the title of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is how we know what we know of Thrawn's position today, right? Grand Admiral Thrawn. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. All right. Now, again, we talked about Thrawn. Thrawn is not human, he is a Chiss. And as far as I know, he is the only non human to move up the ranks in the Empire. Okay, I don't know of any others. It just seemed to be those titles are all, those positions were all given to humans. So as a Chiss, he gets a lot of stares, obviously, because people are not familiar with his race, and he has to deal with the hatred and bigotry that takes place in the Empire. All right, many humans actually mistook him for a Pantoran, right?
Pantoran?
Pantoran, right? A Pantoran, right? Because he's blue. Yeah, close. Not even close. But anyway, um, so that's something that he has to deal with. And there is we'll talk about it when we get to talking about Rebels season 3. That there is a moment where actually Thrawn loses his cool in regards to something that someone said that was considered prejudice. It was bigoted. So we'll talk about that when we get to that point. All right. Now, so that's Thrawn's story. That's the backstory. Okay. There's also another character in the book that we know very well, and we want to talk about her rise to power, and that is Arinda Price. Does that name sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so now Arinda Price is from Lethal, and she is working for her family business called Price Mining. Now, Price Mining, they just so happen to store this precious mineral, very valuable, called dunium. And it is a hard metal that's used to manufacture warships, right? So this is a type of material that's used to put together these ships, star destroyers, what have you, is very valuable to the Empire. And it's not only valuable to the Empire, but a lot of people are looking into getting more of this metal. And since Price Mining has a huge percentage of it, people are coming after the company and trying to get a stake of the company, right? Because they want to take ownership of the Dunium. One of those persons is Ryder Azadi. So Azadi, I'm sorry, Ryder Azadi, who we know from Star Wars Rebels
And Ahsoka.
and Ahsoka, right? We saw him in live action. Um, he is the governor of Lothal, right? And he sends a representative to Arinda to discuss the terms of maybe getting a bigger stake in the mining facility. So apparently he owns a small percentage, but what he wants to do is actually own at least 51% of the company, which would
So
put
he
him
owns the controlling stock, basically, which means he gets to make all the executive decisions.
absolutely.
Because he owns the most stock in the company.
That's exactly right. Right.
Like how Elon Musk owns 51% of Twitter stock.
There you go. There you go. Right. And
Tesla, I don't know which one.
no, that's fine. You're right. And then when Arinda heard this, she says, you're out of your mind. Get out of here. There's no deal. I'm not giving any more of my company to Azadi. And then what does Azadi do in retaliation? He actually arrests Arinda's mother because she is, it's a family business. So her mother actually runs the company. Uh, but the governor, Azadi, arrests Arinda's mother and charges her with embezzlement, which is interesting. Just made up charges, embezzlement. So now Arinda has to figure out, well, how am I going to get my mother out of prison? So she goes to the senator of Lothal, all right? And the senator of Lothal, his name is Dumas Ranking, all right? Ranking. The only thing that he can do is, well, the only solution that he can come up with, if you want your mom to leave it to if you want these charges dropped, you want your mom out of prison, the only thing I can offer you is to take your company and give full ownership to who else? The Empire. That's the solution. All right. So just give the entire company to the Empire. Your mom will go free, and then all is good. Uh, Now, of course, Arinda wants, okay, well, if she does this, well, what does she get out of it? Now, Arinda, I mentioned that she is from Lothal, but she has grown up there for so many years, and she finds Lothal very uninspiring, very boring. She doesn't like living there. So she wants to have a change of pace, right? She wants to live the city life, she wants to have more excitement in her life. So Arinda says, okay, well, if you want me to give up control of this company, I want a job working for the Empire in Coruscant. All right. Okay. So senator says, okay. So now she is working for the senator in Coruscant. All right. Now that's interesting. Now she's in Coruscant, and so is Thrawn. How did they meet exactly? Well, they met at a Empire dinner party. Okay, that was also attended by Colonel Yularen, who we know from the ISB,
and also from the Clone Wars.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And she's actually meeting a lot of high-ranking people, and unfortunately, she has gotten herself caught in uh, political lies. She's being used, to cover up lies, and she's being blackmailed, and she has no idea what to do and how to get out. She apparently found information. There is a Grand Moff, uh, not Tarkin, but somebody on his level who is trying to take Tarkin down. They want to get rid of Tarkin, right? So the two of them are bitter enemies, this other Moff. So what Arinda does is go to Grand Moff Tarkin, all right, at the top, straight to the top, and explains to him somebody wants you out of the way. I have the proof. She hands him a data card with some information, some damaging information from this other Moff. Tarkin is very impressed by this information and he thanks her. And it turns out this information is actually accurate. So, how does Tarkin reward Arinda Price? He gives her governorship of Lothal. So it's like a circle, right? So at the point when she was actually kicked out, not kicked out, but she had to leave Lothal. Right. She exited Lothal because of the current governor, Azadi, right? Because she wouldn't sell more of her company to him.
And now she owns the planet.
Now she owns the entire planet, right?
And her own company back.
How about
she works
that?
With the very people she was supposed to sell.
Exactly. So, but Arinda has learned a lot as far as politics. She knows how dirty politics can be. So she needs an ally. She is very impressed by Thrawn. His rise to power, how he rose to power so quickly. He has a very extensive military experience, but he doesn't know much about politics. So what she wants to do is explain to him that politics and war go together. And she thinks that the two of them would make great allies, with her political savviness and his, military background. They can come together and they can be a powerful force, right? And Thrawn entertains the idea of them working together. And the first thing that she asks is to have him investigate some rebel attacks that are taking place on her planet, Lothal, right? And she's afraid that these attacks are going to lead to something larger. And that brings us into Star Wars Rebels. All right. So let's stop here and let's go to Q&A. Wow, I didn't know much about Arinda Price beyond what was about her Rebels. This is intriguing backstory about her. Alex, yes, thank you. You're right. I didn't even know that Arinda was going to be in this novel, but I was so excited to hear about her and her. Here it makes sense. Well, we know that they know each other from the beginning in Rebel season 3, but we just didn't know how they met. But it was a very intriguing story. And if you read Bloodline, that's a very political story, a political thriller. This is on the line of that. It's a mix. So you got Arinda's story going on, you got Thrawn's story, you got the military side, you got the political side. It blends together very, very well. So yeah, I was surprised to know more about Arinda Price. All right. Okay. So now that brings us into Rebels season 3. Okay. All right. So let's start. Now there's a line that Thrawn says, which is that tells you a lot about Thrawn. He says, "To defeat an enemy, you must know them." All right.
Was that Palpatine?
I don't know. It sounded like Palpatine, right? It didn't sound like it didn't sound like Thrawn.
Thrawn's a bit more level-headed.
Yes, he's I guess he's a little like, I'll take the rebels and I'll rip them piece by piece.
That was close.
I'm getting there. But anyway,
I don't know what that was. I don't know what Thrawn sounds like. So.
Yeah, it's a very.
I watched these episodes yesterday and just.
Yeah. I wonder how it was decided how Thrawn was going to sound. because if you listen to his voice, he's very calm. He doesn't yell unless he's in trouble or he's
Unless
going
he's
after somebody,
angry.
or he's angry. But he's very even keel, and he talks that same tone
He
all the
talks like
time.
he's about to have tea time with Deputy Maw.
Right, and you think when you hear him talking like this, Hera Syndulla, you know, how do you take this guy seriously? If he's talking this way, he doesn't seem like a threat, but we know he is. But that was very interesting. Yeah, so I would love to find out how that voice was. They determined that was how Thrawn was going to sound. And one thing about Thrawn is he really understands people. And what I mean by that is he really studies them. He doesn't just look at you. He'll study you. Like he's kind of robotic. Um, in the book, you're actually hearing. Well, if you're reading the book or listening to the book, not only are you reading, his words, but you also are reading his thoughts or hearing his thoughts, and you could just hear how he breaks down people's tone of voice or their facial expression or their body language, the way they're dressed. You could tell a lot by the person just by those features, and he's skilled at that. So he really needs to understand. He needs to know and understand people, you know, by what they say, how they say it, know them by their culture, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. So there was an episode, again, to defeat an enemy, you must know them. And there was an episode where the Imperials occupied the planet of Ryloth. All right. And if you are familiar with Ryloth, you know the Syndulas are from this planet, right? Cham Syndulla.
They were also in the Bad Batch, and
Yes,
they were
Freedom
in the
Fighter.
Clone Wars.
Exactly. So Ryloth and the Empire, they don't like each other, obviously. So the Empire has decided to occupy the planet, and not only occupy the planet, but actually take over the hometown, Hera's hometown. Hera is Sham Syndulla's daughter. They occupy the hometown of Tan Province. All right, and there is this heirloom that has been passed down to generations from the family called Kalikori. Right, it's a totem. Okay, very valuable. It is actually still left in the home where she grew up. Right, and this heirloom is so important to her because her mother passed away, and mom, wanted to make sure that Hera gets this heirloom and passes it down to her children, right? Generations. So Hera went on a personal mission to go and find that heirloom. Okay, so she went back to her home planet. Ezra went with her. Unfortunately, she got caught.
It went awry.
Yes, it went awry.
And basically, they got caught in their lie.
Yes.
It went awry, and they got caught in their lie.
Right. Exactly. And Hera had to play it off as if she is one of those.
She acted like she was one of the lowly, quote unquote, Twi'leks who was just scraping by and thought she could steal something for some money. But Thrawn's like, no. So you see, this Kalikori, it's of tradition for Twi'leks to pass this down through family generations.
Yes, he found the heirloom.
And if you look in this photo, that looks like you, doesn't it, Ms. Syndulla?
Yes.
And then Ezra's like about to pounce into action, and Thrawn just says, nope. Pew! And it's like, dee. Bro, Ezra's down for the count.
Yeah. Ezra was not prepared. All right.
He wasn't prepared. I love how stun guns are like the most lethal thing in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean,
literally, Captain Rex can tank more of those than Ezra.
Yeah, that's true.
What even do they do though? Like, what's the scientific way that they stun you? Like, what's it? Sleep arrays?
Well, it paralyzes you. So it's
not how light works.
Well, okay, all right. So apparently, when people get stunned, you see it in Star Wars. They fall out, they pass out, I guess, and
blue rings.
At least they're still exactly the blue rings. But you take them alive.
It might actually be sonar.
Okay, we could look.
Like maybe it's sound waves that just kind of make you sleepy.
Like, who knows?
Like, that would actually kind of make sense why Rex was able to take, like, 2 or 3 of those in season 2 of Rebels.
Okay. All right. You got to lean over a little bit. Okay. There you go. Ah, we want to see your face. There you are. All right. So I want to finish the line from Thrawn. So when he's talking to Hera, he says, to defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not simply their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art. And that's exactly how he knows and understands Hera, right? So he knows that this Tolican, this Kalikori, this totem is very important to her family, and she is in possession of it. So she has to be a member of the Syndulla family, all right? Because this is
She
something that's
stole it
very
from the
important,
Syndulla house,
right?
and there's
This is
somebody in
something,
that photo who looks just like her.
right? Okay, and he stole it from her. So now he has Hera held hostage. Now he's waiting for Syndulla,
Syndulla.
all right, to make his next move. And Thrawn is not the type of person who just goes in without thinking and just goes, I'm ready to attack.
He calculates every move.
Yes, he does. He calculates every move. And so he wants to see what Cham's going to do. And he really didn't need to worry about Cham. He needed to worry about what Hera's going to do. So
Cham was ready to put his life on the line
right,
for Hera.
yeah, exactly. And whatever Thrawn wanted, he was going to give it to him because he wanted his daughter back. Okay. All right. So we have Hello, Kerwin and Keith. Not seen any episodes yet. Saving up for wintertime. Keep doing what you're doing. Damien, thank you. Damien Ristori. Thank you so much, Damien. Thank you for being on the live stream. Thank you. All right. And then, all right. So now, so here's the part where we're talking about Thrawn's tolerance or intolerance for bigotry and hatred. All right. So he is actually working with an Imperial officer. His name is Slavin or Slavin, Captain Slavin. Right?
Captain Slavin. Or
Okay.
like Principal Slavin.
Okay. When he is caught by Thrawn, all right, he captures her, puts her in a holding pattern. And then this Captain Slavin, first of all, he treats the people from Ryloth, as if they're low class citizens,
like they're beneath
him,
right,
for beneath him.
Something we see in the real world far too often.
Right. So once they captured Hera, and he and Thrawn are walking down the hall, and he mentions, for some reason, just started calling names, and he referred to Hera as Twi'lek trash. That set off Thrawn, because imagine he is not human, just like Hera, not human, right? So how many years that he had to go through and tolerate, people looking at him thinking that he's lesser than, the names that they're calling him behind his back because he doesn't look like the rest of them. So you know what he does? He actually, and like I said, he does usually get angry, but he got mad and he growled and grabbed Captain Slavin by the collar. And then he realized, oh, sorry, Captain.
Yes,
yeah,
sorry,
everything's
Captain.
okay.
Let me just straighten you
We're
up.
good.
Let me just fix your car.
I apologize for my behavior. But he was,
by the way,
Thrawn was not happy.
There was this one episode at the beginning of season 3 where Hera and Kanan were just parenting Ezra. Like, Ezra's like, I know I made a mistake, and Hera's like, you didn't think first, and you should have thought. You almost put this entire mission in jeopardy for some ships? What is wrong with you? And Kanan's just sitting there like...
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
Kanan just said nothing. He's just like, oh my god, Ezra.
Well...
You gotta be kidding me. I don't even have words.
Okay, well, I guess he was disappointed.
And also blind.
Well, okay, well, that didn't matter, right? So he was listening to Hera's... Well, he's listening to what Hera had to say. He doesn't know what happened, but Hera's not happy, so why would...
They really did Kanan the dirtiest out of all the Rebels members.
Okay. All right. I'm afraid to ask. Why is that?
They made him blind, and then they got rid of him in like the next season.
Yeah, I got you.
They did him so dirty.
Well, I think it's, look, Kanan went through a lot, and he came out on top, left out a hero. So, I have no regrets about his storyline. I know some things were very tough for him to get through, but yeah, yes, it is what it is. Yes, I know he is one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
What if there was a perfect timeline?
What does that mean?
What if everything?
Oh, you bringing in the timeline into
if
Star Wars?
What if everything that went good could have? Like, there was this one day where I just sat in class, and the only thing keeping me entertained is how if every Marvel event went good, what would happen to the other events.
Okay.
Like, for example, if Quicksilver survived, like, I had this theory where maybe if Loki, Thor, and Hulk had not pulled their punches and decided to attack on sight when they saw Thanos, because he only had one stone, they could have beat him. Therefore, Vision wouldn't be killed, which means that Wanda wouldn't be grieving. She wouldn't create the Hex, which means that if she ever had kids as Billy and Tommy, then they would actually be real children rather than being, fake.
Mm-hmm. Why is it when we talk about Star Wars, it leads to Marvel?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's okay. No. It's fine. It's fine.
No.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, that's on your mind. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. While you're in class.
Yes.
Okay. Not a problem.
It's the only thing keeping me sane at this point.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Damien says, I'm trusting that Thrawn is a pretty good antagonist by what you're saying. You need a good baddie to boo and hiss. Yes, he is.
Hiss, more like chiss.
Very good. Yes. But bum. So yeah, he is very strategic. He's a very calm person. Sometimes
until you set him off.
Yeah, but yeah, when you hear him talk and you watch him, he's not an action type villain. Let me just put it that way.
He'll fight you.
He's very slow moving. He's very methodical. He can put you to sleep.
He should narrate an audiobook.
Yeah, I mean he's just very, very calm, very patient. But he is an absolutely thrilling and chilling villain. So yeah, looking forward to thrilling and chilling. All right, so finishing up the Hera story.
Thrilling and chilling villain named Thrawn.
Yes, he is. All right, so finishing up the Hera story. Going back to Thrawn, he wants to see what Cham's going to do. How is he going to handle trying to get his daughter back? And I mentioned that he thought Cham would be the problem, but he took his eyes off of Hera. And what Hera did, well, she gave
she diverted
Ezra
his expectations,
yes,
his attention, because while he was so focused on Cham pulling some move on him
exactly
to get Hera back and not have to sacrifice himself, he should have worried about the prisoner.
Right, and
because Chopper was the inside of man, and he freed them.
Mm-hmm. And then she also gave orders to Ezra to actually plant those
detonators. Well, she gave them to Chopper.
Oh, it was a Chopper? Okay.
Yeah, she gave them to Chopper because remember Chopper was running about placing them.
Yes, it was Chopper. You're right. Okay. And think about this. I mean, she is asking Chopper to place detonators inside her home. All right. The home that she grew up in. So that's a big deal. And that's exactly what happened. And then when it was time, when she says, go Chopper, Chopper lit the fuse. The house just went up in flames and she was able to escape along with Cham and the rest of the Rebels crew. So that was interesting. All right. And, was Thrawn angry? Was he upset? He says, no. Very good, Cham. All right.
And you know what else?
Well, let them go.
He said, let them escape. They've earned their victory today.
Yes, they've earned their victory. So what's he going to do? All right. So he is kind of like, all right, well, he doesn't like things to end immediately. He likes to
play the waiting game.
It's like a game to him, like, exactly. Okay, your move, it's like chess. Okay, you make that move. Okay, now I make my move. So Hera won that one.
He likes to play the waiting game.
Okay.
And we'll save the rest for part 2.
Okay. All right, well, we're not done yet. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's talk about Fulcrum. Come on, you know this one. All right, Fulcrum. We're going to talk about Fulcrum. All right. Apparently, there is a rebel spy inside the Empire.
Yes.
Who is it?
well, we know who it is objectively as the audience, but if you haven't seen Rebels, we're gonna
by the way, before I know that I keep forgetting this is spoiler. All right.
So, by the way, if you haven't seen Rebels, don't worry. We're just gonna lead you through it and then give you a big reveal at the end.
This saves you time.
Don't say it, Dad.
So you don't want me to tell them who Fulcrum is? Okay.
No, we'll say it at the end.
All right. Okay. Well, Fulcrum. So there is a rebel spy. All right. Working inside the Imperial, right? A double agent,
moonlighting for the Imperials, but in the shadows, giving information to the rebellion.
Yes,
for a price.
Which is interesting because this person was loyal to the Empire, but at some point
and would die for the Empire.
Right. Some point changed their ways. Okay. All right. But Thrawn is onto that person, right? He's not quite sure.
Thrawn knows exactly who it is.
Right.
He's just playing the waiting game to find that.
Okay. So
Salacious B. Crumb.
Yeah, that's it. All right. That's the one. That's Fulcrum.
Yeah, we'll just tell you Fulcrum was Salacious Crumb.
Yes. So of course, whenever there's something going on internally, like internal affairs, Colonel Yularen steps in and he's on the case and he's trying to find out who this person is.
So the spy ends up stealing another lieutenant's ID and gives enough incriminating information to frame Lieutenant List for being the spy.
Right.
That's not true.
Right. So a lieutenant, they're thinking that maybe this lieutenant who works for them is the spy, but it's not the lieutenant. So the lieutenant was set up by the actual spy.
Yep.
Yeah. And so the real spy got away, right? And List was arrested.
And the real spy ends up going to Lothal, and he puts out a transmission as Fulcrum, and they say, yeah, guess what? Thrawn knows. He knows about, and then all of a sudden,
it cuts off. Yeah.
Thrawn's there, and he's jamming the tracker.
Yes.
And Thrawn gets into a fight with the spy and knocks him out, and it's Agent Callus.
Agent Callus is the spy.
Like the Hooks reveal. It's always the redhead.
Alexander Callus, right. Yes, that's the spy. So this was a very interesting. Actually, if we step back a little bit.
I guess he's not redhead. He's got blonde hair.
That's fine. Yeah. So we step back. No, I want to bring this up because this is actually like an Easter egg. All right. So Thrawn is very skilled in hand-to-hand combat, right? And every once in a while, he'll practice with these mechanical droids, right? I guess they're assassin droids, but they're trained to fight with him with sticks. Do you remember what I'm referring to? Okay. It's like, oh gosh. What? All right. So these sticks.
I need some water.
Yeah. So the sticks, they're going at it.
I'll grab it myself.
No. Okay. So what Callus does, he actually reprograms these droids to go after Thrawn, right? So when these droids are coming into his office and they're coming after him, he mentions a code, right? An override code to stop them in their tracks. And the override code is Rook. Okay, Rook, R-U-K-H. We'll find out.
That's an awful name.
We'll find out who Rook is in season 4.
That thing.
Yes, that thing.
That abomination.
Yes, right. So I thought that was very interesting. I didn't pick that up the first time I saw the episode, but when he said override code name Rook, oh wow, how about that? So we'll talk about Rook later. All right, okay. Rook. So that spy, this Fulcrum spy, Thrawn finds out that it is Callus. He captures Callus. He gets him arrested. He's taken away. Now we're back to Lothal. All right, and things are going down in Lothal. The rebels are set to attack a TIE Defender facility, and there's a fleet led by General Dodonna. If you recall that name, he was actually a leader of the Rebel Alliance in Star Wars: A New Hope. Yeah, General Dodonna. All right,
ready first.
Okay, and he's also working with Hera, obviously, and Commander Sato. All right. Okay.
And he sacrifices.
Right. Yes. We'll get to that. But Tarkin actually gave orders to Thrawn and his people he wants all the leaders taken alive because I'm sure he wants to, make examples of them. All right. So throughout the season, the rebels been looking for a base, right? And the rebel base that they choose is called Atollon. All right. Thrawn finds out the location of the base, so he sends his Chimera, and other ships to the Rebel fleet. He has a blockade, right? And then
they're not going anywhere. He
right,
intends to
so
burn it down.
yeah, and the only thing that the Rebel fleet can do at this point, it's not necessarily the Holdo maneuver, but we've seen it
It's a
happen in
reverse
Rogue.
Holdo maneuver.
Well, it's a make sense maneuver.
Honestly, it was actually smart.
Yeah,
This time.
yeah.
This time it made sense. Like, this man evacuated everybody, and he said, "We'll get you that last shot. Y'all gotta jump through, so we'll get rid of these hyperspace puller routers."
Yeah. Okay.
They got these machines that'll pull you out of hyperspace as soon as you try to make the jump to light speed.
That was ridiculous.
So you are not getting anywhere past them without either getting shot down at normal speed or getting pulled right back out of hyperspace.
Yes. So the only way that they can get past the blockade is to go through them. And Commander Sato gave the rest of the rebels enough time to do whatever they need to do to get Thrawn. But he made the ultimate sacrifice, Commander Sato, and took his rebel ship and crashed it into an Imperial ship to move that ship out the way. And
so the original Holdo maneuver.
Yes, the original and the correct way to do the Holdo maneuver. Okay,
like
that's all
at
I'm
least
say.
This way,
that's
the sacrifice made sense, rather than using this to implausibly split a ship apart with like 4 of your main heroes on it.
Okay, so Thrawn
Holdo is the most done bad character.
Holdo is the most done bad character.
The most done dirty character.
Okay.
Good in the book, but they put her in the movie. Yeah. And even the writers thought she was so bad they had to get rid of her in the same movie.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's keep it moving. All right. So Thrawn personally goes down to Lothal to get these rebels because he's fed up with these rebels. He needs to get them taken out. They're growing. So he
Lothal or Adelon?
Lothal, because. Now, it has to be Lothal because this is when we get to Bendu.
Well, that's Adelon.
So Bendu is on the planet Adelon, not Lothal. Okay, all right, my mistake.
Yeah, he's on the same planet as Kanan and Hera at the base.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you. Okay, thank you for that. That makes sense. All right, so he goes down to the planet Adelon. Okay, all right, and so Thrawn arrives on Adelon, and we come across a Force being. All right.
I don't know what that man is, but he's menacing when he wants to be. I am the light, I am the dark, I am Bendu.
Right, we're talking about Bendu. Okay, this is the part where we talk about Bendu. So he is Force sensitive. I don't quite know. Is he a tree? Is he a branch? Or well, he's bigger than a branch.
I don't think he's a tree.
Yeah.
I think he's a fungus monster.
Yeah, he is very powerful.
He's ambiguous.
He is very powerful in the Force. Not to go too far into the story with Bendu, but Bendu and Kanan have a history. When Kanan lost his eyesight, we talked about how he lost his eyesight back in a couple of episodes.
Mauled that man.
Yes. Kanan goes to Bendu and is asking for guidance. And Bendu teaches Kanan how to see without using his eyesight, if that makes sense. Right? Yes. So he is, and he actually becomes a better Jedi Knight without his eyesight. Gonna watch the show starting November. Can I ask Kerwin, does Thrawn come with his yellow lizard thingy?
The what?
Yellow lizard thingy.
Could you explain, Damien?
Yeah, I don't know what the yellow lizard thingy is.
Could you expound on that?
Yeah, we'll find out what that is. Don't hate me, but I love to have seen Snoke perhaps from his earlier days as the enemy. If so, what show would you add him to? Snoke.
None. It's not that I dislike Snoke. I really feel like I don't feel like we need him.
Well, okay, understood. But
once again, that's another character they did dirty.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, the question is, where would he be? Where would he show up in the timeline?
He
would. Well, if he were to show up, he would have to be in the Ahsoka and the Mandalorian timeline, right?
Yeah.
because at this point in time, you think Han and Leia are already parents to Kylo or Ben Skywalker. And we know a couple of years down the line, he's going to meet Snoke. So probably within that Ahsoka Mandalorian time frame is where I said he would appear. But yes, all right. So getting back to Adelon.
Thrawn usually comes with a lizard.
You know what? Maybe we'll see that creature in season 4.
My God.
No, that's fine. Unless he's not referring to Rook, is it?
Well, Rook's not a
he's not a lizard creature, right?
And yes, he's also not yellow.
That's true, right? He does remind me of Gollum, Alex. That's a good point. Rook and Gollum, yeah.
Well, it's funny that we're talking about Snoke, Andy Serkis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Snoke and Gollum. There you go. It's all connected, like Alex said before.
Kino Loy.
Yes, Kino Loy. That's right. That's right. All right, so let's
top-notch acting.
Let's finish.
For 2 episodes of the show, and he was the best part of it.
Yes, talking about Andor.
Yeah, that man deserves to come back.
Yeah, I think he'll be back. Yeah,
you know what I would
that's
love
for another episode.
Is if they give us some offhanded mention, or like have him walk past in the background in a feature show, or at least have him be mentioned.
All right, we'll see. All right, so let's continue on. All right, so we are up to the part when Thrawn arrives on Adelon. We're talking about Bendu, and how Bendu helped Kanan to see how to use his senses to become a better Jedi. So Bendu, Kanan asked Bendu to help him. He warns Bendu that war is coming, and he's going to need your help. Bendu says, "You know what? I don't want you bringing war to
He's
my
like, planet. You brought war.
Right. I don't want you. Right, exactly. But look,
and I'm like, dude, chill.
Right. At this point, there's nothing that Kanan can do because Thrawn is coming. All right, he's coming after the rebels. He's going to take over their base. So Bendu's got to do something. So he got very angry when he realized that there was nothing he can do. These people are coming, and Bendu was very straightforward and said, "Well, I am the darkness. I am the light. Right? You can't come here on my planet. I am going to rain down fire and brimstone," which is exactly what he did. So when Thrawn and his people came down and they got, wind literally of who this Bendu creature is, I mean, he controlled the weather. I mean, he wiped out some of these people with the rain and the flooding, the heavy winds and the fire, everything. All right. We finally get to the part where Thrawn and Bendu meet face to face. All right. And now, I'll tell you something about Thrawn. Thrawn, like I said, he's very particular. He knows everything. He studies his enemies very well. But the one thing he does not know well or understand is the Force. Okay. All right.
I'm trying now.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
Like 8:30.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we had a long day. All right. I'm going to finish up. Okay. All right. So he has this conversation with Bendu, and he says, this is a funny line where Thrawn says, "What Jedi devilry is this?" And Bendu says, "I am the light. I am the dark. I am the Bendu."
What kind of name is the Bendu?
The Bendu. Okay.
Ugh.
So Thrawn wants to know, what manner of creature are you? And Bendu says, "One beyond your power to destroy." Wow. Okay.
It would not seem so.
Thrawn said it would not seem so. But Bendu says, "You cannot see, but I can."
What do you see?
What do you see? And then Bendu says, "I see your defeat, like many arms surrounding you in a cold embrace."
Purgles, Purgles, Purgles.
Wee. That gave me chills when I heard that line. Like
it hits different in 2023, knowing season 4.
Well, right. Yes, exactly. Right. We didn't know what was in store for Thrawn, but the Bendu did. And for the first time ever in this entire season, Thrawn looks scared.
Oh, he
looks confused.
Terrified.
Yes. He doesn't know what's going to happen next.
He looked deathly afraid.
Ends season 3. All right. Q&A. Deborah Breedlove, thank you so much. I am so impressed with both of your knowledge of Star Wars. Thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. So that's season 3. Uh,
And the rest is
yeah,
for the next
yeah. So for next time, we're going to pick it up with
season
Thrawn
4.
in season 4, which it gets better. We know what happens in the end, but we'll talk about Thrawn and we'll get to what happened again. Are we going to see Thrawn finally episode 6 this Wednesday? You
I
think this
really hope
Tuesday?
so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All
I'm
right. We'll
sick and
see.
tired of waiting.
Yeah. I think he has to show up now that we're going to be back. Ahsoka is following. You know, taking the Pearl Girls, and then Pearl Girls are taking her to wherever Thrawn might be, or where Balin and everyone else. Okay, all right. So let me go through the announcements. All right. So did you know there will be a Lando film? Hopefully.
Should have been a show.
Yeah, well, no. Well, this is actually better news that it's going to be a movie instead of a show.
Why is that?
Well, because Star Wars needs to be on the big screen.
Yeah, honestly,
It's been a
it'll be
while.
the first
Yeah.
movie since 2019.
Exactly right.
And assuming it takes like a few years for production,
Exactly.
it'll be 2025, meaning it'll have been like half a decade
Yeah.
since we
All
got
right.
our
So
last Star Wars movie.
Yeah. So Lucasfilm, Donald and Stephen Glover. You know Donald Glover.
Of course I do.
Confirmed. All three confirmed. The right. Donald and Stephen are the writers for this Lando show. And Lucasfilm all confirmed that Lando, instead of it being a Disney Plus series, it's going to be a movie, which is awesome. And that tells me that Lucasfilm liked the pitch that the brothers gave, which is very, very good. I
hope they took my idea about having Billy D. Williams sit down in a cantina and then recount his tale.
I really hope they bring back Billy D. Yeah, that give him something to do in this role, because it's because of him. Give this man his flowers. He created such an iconic character for the last 40 years.
He's the creator of Lando, honestly.
Yes, he is, and Lando would not
Lando
exist
wouldn't have been Lando without Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams setting the stage, setting the ground, that charm. So I do hope Billy D. may have some type of role in the film, but it's a long ways off. I'm sure there isn't even a script because of the writer's strike. They don't have a script ready. There's no casting news. So, but this is good news. We hope they stick with it. That they stay on the project until the very end. All right. So now, other announcements. 5 days left to donate, for the Colored River film. All right.
And there's a time limit?
Yes, there's 5 days left. If you go to Seed and Spark, you'll see it. But actor and content creator Catherine LaSalle, a friend to the show, and her actor, writer, creator, Olivia Celine, are launching a Seed and Spark fundraising campaign to produce an independent short film called Colored River. Tagline is, conflicted by a violent past and captive to a dark family history, a writer is driven to a natural lens to complete her final piece. So, if you want to help Catherine and Olivia reach their goal and support them to get the film greenlighted, give them access to press coverage, fulfill their dream of bringing to life the amazing works of super talented artists of color, please donate and go to coloredriverfilm.com. Choose the amount you're willing to give. They would appreciate it. There's only 5 days left. I think they're about 68% there. So we would, just asking if you would donate if you can. Okay. And let's give a shout out to our patrons, Baraxium, John H., and Mary B. Thank you so much, everyone. It's it. Part 1 of Thrawn. So part 2 will be coming up soon. We'll let you know when it will be ready. But that is it for this episode. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk about episode 6.
So until next time,
all right.
Take care, and we will see you again. Good session. We're still going.